cutting across the desolate Arctic landscape in search of obstacles.
Come on, Wendy, get off.
Wendy Booker will stop at nothing to deliver her message about overcoming life's challenges.
I definitely have moments of doubt. But doesn't everybody have moments of doubt?
More than a dozen years after being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, pushing age 60 and numb on her left side, Wendy has made the grueling trek here to the top of the world to keep trying to change how people handle life's adversities.
But I definitely had my pity party, like I hurt all over, I can't do this anymore. And then that's when I love to say, where would I rather be than right here, right now? If I could be anywhere in the world, how cool is it to say, I'm on my way to the North Pole? Come on, we're turning!
On April 23rd, 2011, Wendy Booker became the first person with MS to stand atop the North Pole.
There it is.
You passed, you know well.
It's the first leg of her attempt to complete the polar trilogy, the North and South Poles, and Greenland.
When you hear the words MS or breast cancer or any diagnosis, and it doesn't even have to be something like that, maybe a loss of a job, whatever it is, your world stops and it takes your breath away. And it's at that moment, that's when you have to start defining who and what you are.
For this suburban Massachusetts mother of three, who'd barely even jogged up to that point in her life, it meant testing herself in the Boston Marathon.
It was an interesting evolution that from starting it of no pressure, let's just, if we like this, we'll keep going, to saying, yeah, we're really going to do this.
And yet it's still a big leap to go from, I'm doing this for me, to I'm doing this for a broader cause.
It starts like many things. It kind of like rolls like thunder into your world. People at the gym, wow, you're training for the Boston Marathon and you have MS. My aunt has MS. I should tell her about you.
Was that feeding you?
Yes, absolutely feeding me. And up until then, I really was doing it for myself. And I will say that that very first marathon I ran just for me, just to see if I had what it takes. But on the way to that starting line in Hopkinton is when I started to gather all of this momentum from people saying, oh my gosh, I know people with MS. This is amazing. If you can do it, maybe they can do it. And I'm like, absolutely. I've really felt like there was time for me to pick up the torch and run with it, literally.
And her longtime friends, now running partners, were amazed.
She's crazy.
Huh? What?
She's crazy. Crazy.
But they get what she's doing and are inspired themselves.
I mean, if she can do it, why can't I? Why can't anybody? You can.
Yes, anyone can.
Wendy's now completed 10 marathons, gone cycling for MS, kayaking, and skydiving. But she set her sights even higher, climbing to the summit of Mount McKinley, North America's largest peak.
That was my life-changing moment, to stand on the top and say, okay, now the sky really is the limit. So now we keep going.
So she started intensive training to climb the rest of the so-called 7 summits, the highest mountains on each continent.
I'm sure glad I didn't eat any more French fries.
Wendy's torturous workout routine is designed with her physical limitations in mind and to prepare her for specific things like chopping ice.
She's very strong-willed and she wants to go at 1,000 miles an hour. How do I get her to slow down a little bit and realize that we need to do a little less to get a little more? And that has been my biggest struggle with Wendy, because again, she's a very passionate woman, she's a strong woman, and she knows what she wants, and she's gonna get there.
So, Everest.
Everest. Everest. Everest.
Your nemesis.
Definitely my nemesis. Everest and MS all came colliding on that mountain together, twice. The physical act of climbing is very much like what life with MS is like.
How so?
Well, you get above a certain altitude and you're dizzy and you're numb and you're tingling and you don't feel well and you want your mother.
Good dog!
After Everest stopped her, this remarkable woman decided if she couldn't reach Earth's highest peak, she'd set her sights instead on the true top of the world, the North Pole.
Anytime you're out in nature, you have to plan for all the things that can go wrong, that might change, conditions we can't control outside.
Wendy has been sharing her adventures with a 4th grade class in East Boston. a community of immigrants whose children face challenges of their own. Each spring, she takes them to climb a mountain in New Hampshire to teach lessons that go beyond science, geography, and human health.
We focus a lot on sort of the big ideas. What's the big idea? What's Wendy doing and why is she doing it? And they're able to talk about that and articulate it and then connect it to their own lives, which is when I see it meaning the most. They connect it and they say what kind of obstacles do they have in their lives and how can they overcome those obstacles to achieve the kinds of things they want to achieve.
Following Wendy's example is a good start. For her, it's all about the journey and challenging herself, confronting one test at a time and pressing forward, and not necessarily about the result.
I'd rather take each day as it comes. I don't like to project into making it, and I don't like to project into not making it. So it's that same attitude of one foot in front of the other and one day at a time.
It's an approach to life that's taken Wendy Booker to places she never dreamed of going, all because she refused to allow multiple sclerosis to stop her.
So, my mission to people facing a challenge is set the goal. You may not get there the way you thought, but you don't give up on the goal. Look at me. I am the face of MS, and everyone who finds out they have this disease should have that face. It should not be stopping them, it should be propelling them.
Just like Wendy Booker, always plowing ahead to the next challenge, confronting her mountains in life, and conquering them. For My Generation, I'm Jon Crane.